Hey folks, welcome to the show. Let's talk about the Florida Panthers beating the Boston Bruins in six. I think they handled it really well, obviously, because they won the series. Boston still made it a series, made it competitive, and you think we're going to see. I'll preview it tomorrow. Two unstoppable objects meeting each other between the Panthers and the Rangers. But let's talk about the Panthers and how they handled the Bruins and where the Bruins go on from here. So, throughout the series, Florida outshoots Boston. In Game One, it didn't lead to success for the Panthers. Jeremy Swayman has an amazing game. He stops 38 of the 39 shots he faces en route to a 5-1 victory for the Bruins. It's a big statement victory for the Bruins, and it's kind of we're all thinking, hey, maybe Jeremy Swayman can take over and Boston have revenge on Florida. Obviously, we're not all thinking that. It's Game One. You never know what can happen in Game Two. Like Florida having a statement win of their own with a 6-1 victory, similarly outshooting the Bruins once again. And Game Three, they do it again, almost as bad. It was a 6-2 victory for the Panthers. And then in Game 4, Boston decides Jeremy Swayman decides we don't need to be allowing 6 goals every game. We got to play it tighter. Whether they tried to play it tighter or not doesn't matter. Florida outshoots them 41-18. Swayman has an amazing game, making 38 saves, but not enough saves for the win. Florida wins 3-2. So for 3 straight games, the Boston Bruins not only lose, but are held to under 20 shots while allowing over 30, including 41 in Game 4. They finally managed to play a much tighter game in Game 5, where Boston not only has 28 shots this time, but is only one shot of the amount of shots Florida had, and Boston wins. Because as great as playoff Bobrovsky is, Swayman has been amazing this year, and he's usually been the better goaltender at points. It's hard to defend him in Game 2 and 3, but Boston, speaking of defending Swayman, Boston hasn't really been doing that either. But in Game 5, Swayman has a great game, and Bruins win 2-1. I think a lot of us were kind of hoping that even though we might prefer the Panthers, it'd be really funny to see the Panthers blow a 3-1 series lead against the Bruins. But before we can think about that too much, the Panthers win a tight game in Game 6 to close out the series with a 2-1 victory over the Bruins. Final series is 4-2. Throughout the series, just looking at those first 2 numbers here, you can really see just how much Florida dominated the Bruins. They scored one more goal per game than the Bruins did and shot nearly 14 more shots per game than the Bruins did. Swayman did his best, had a slightly better save percentage than Bobrovsky, but you need a much bigger save percentage against Bobrovsky when you're facing as many shots as Swayman is. The Bruins did actually manage quite a few high danger shot attempts and a few more than Florida, but Florida converted more often. Hitting, Bruins are known as a hitting team. They did hit well, but Florida was the best hitting team this year, and they hit the Bruins almost twice every time the Bruins took a shot. Faceoffs were nearly even, but one of the key factors here was special teams, where the Panthers dominated, whether they were up a man or down a man. Up a man, Florida 6 for 28 isn't great. It's certainly, you can work with it, and it's much better than Boston's 1 for 16, Florida's penalty kill exceeding the 90% mark. So it's going to be a really exciting series between the Rangers and the Panthers. They're both they both are the best teams. That's how they got here to this point, and I think it'll be really fun, but that's for a different video. Now, what about Boston? Where they go from here? The immediate need a lot of people have on their minds is center depth. I think Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha were admirable, but they're not exactly line 1 centers. Morgan Geekie was also admirable, but is he going to develop into a line 1 center by next year? Probably not. Then what do you do with goaltending? I really like Ullmark and Swayman together. I don't think they should be hasty in separating them, but I also understand if they do. If you're convinced by Swayman's efforts this year, incredible efforts this year, then you're probably convinced you're safe to move on from Allmark. But at the same time, Swayman hasn't had a 60-game season. If you move on from Allmark, you don't know how Swayman's going to respond to a 60-game season. And at some point in his career, he's going to have to try to have a 60-game season. But I would hope that for Boston's sake, they get a decent backup to at least ease Jeremy Swayman into a bigger schedule. Because again, if Allmark's gone, Swayman's workload's going to not double, but it's close to there. Anyways, that's it for this review of the series. I'd love to hear your thoughts about how it all went down and how these two teams will go from here in the comment section below. While you're there, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. Thank you for all the support I received already, and thank you for being here for your first time or your 100th time, whatever. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, unless you're a Canucks fan. Well, I hope you have a good day, just besides the game tonight. Bye for now.